Title: I'm surprised I'm that open and start bricking. Kevin Durant makes truthful admission about $185 million teammates' impact. Kevin Durant has never been one to sugarcoat his thoughts. Whether it's about basketball, his teammates, or his own performance, KD always keeps it real. And recently, after another standout performance from his Phoenix Suns teammate, Durant made a brutally honest and hilarious admission about the impact of the team's $185 million man, a player who's clearly making life easier for the future Hall of Famer. Durant's post-game comments sent fans into a frenzy when he admitted, "I'm surprised I'm that open and start bricking." It was a classic KD moment, self-aware, honest, and laced with a touch of humor that only he could deliver. But beneath that quote was a genuine compliment toward his teammate, who has clearly shifted how defenses approach the Suns this season. Let's break down what Durant meant, who he was referring to, and what this says about Phoenix's new offensive chemistry. The $185 million man. That quote was aimed at none other than Bradley Beal, Durant's backcourt partner and one of the biggest off-season acquisitions in Suns history. Beal, who signed a massive $185 million deal, joined forces with Durant and Devin Booker to create one of the league's most lethal offensive trios. The goal was clear: surround Durant with elite shot creators to keep defenses guessing and, hopefully, open the floor for everyone. And that's exactly what's happening. Even when Beal isn't lighting up the scoreboard, his mere presence forces opposing teams to make tough defensive decisions. Teams can't afford to double Durant or Booker without risking Beal getting a wide-open look. That's why KD's "I'm surprised I'm that open" line makes perfect sense. The spacing Beal creates has been a game-changer. But Durant's self-deprecating humor, and start bricking, also shows his high standards. He knows the opportunities are there, and he expects to capitalize on them. It's a moment of honesty that shows both his leadership and his desire for perfection, even when the Suns are clicking. Durant's respect for Beal's impact. Durant's comments weren't just about his own shots, they were about respect. He's played alongside some of the greatest scorers in NBA history: Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and yet, his chemistry with Beal seems to be developing rapidly. Durant praised Beal's ability to read defenses and make smart plays even when he's not the one taking the shot. "When you've got a guy who can attack, shoot, and pass like Brad," Durant said, "it opens everything up." The Suns' offense, when healthy, is designed to make life unfair for defenders. The trio of Beal, Booker, and Durant ensures that someone is always open, and in KD's case, those open looks are often at his favorite mid-range spots. But as KD admitted, even a sniper like him can sometimes get too much space. That moment of surprise, that pause of disbelief, is something every shooter understands. When you're too open, the rhythm sometimes vanishes. Durant jokingly calling himself out for bricking is just KD being KD, transparent, competitive, and always holding himself accountable. Suns' offensive evolution. Since Beal's arrival, Phoenix's offense has evolved significantly. Early in the season, they faced criticism for being too isolation-heavy, relying too much on their stars to create tough shots. But as chemistry has built, the ball movement has improved dramatically. Beal's off-ball movement and willingness to play unselfishly have given Durant more freedom to pick his spots. The Suns' coaching staff has emphasized spacing, allowing KD to operate in the mid-range while Beal and Booker draw defensive attention from the perimeter. When Beal is in rhythm, defenses collapse. When Durant is on fire, Beal gets clean looks. And when both are clicking, it's nearly impossible to stop Phoenix's offense. Durant's comments highlight this dynamic perfectly. He's open not because defenses are lazy, but because they simply have too many threats to contain. The leadership behind the laughter. While Durant's quote was funny on the surface, it also shows a lot about his leadership style. He's not afraid to poke fun at himself, which takes pressure off his teammates. It's a subtle message: I can miss shots too, but that's part of the game. This kind of humility builds trust in the locker room. Younger players see KD owning his mistakes, and it sets a tone for accountability. Even for a superstar making over $50 million a year, Durant still expects more from himself. That's the standard he's set throughout his career. Beal, meanwhile, has expressed how much he appreciates Durant's honesty. In a recent interview, Beal said, "KD's a perfectionist, but is also one of the most encouraging teammates I've ever had." When he says something like that, it just shows he cares about the team more than stats. That mutual respect is what makes this Suns trio dangerous. They're still developing chemistry, but the trust is clearly there. KD's shooting, by the numbers. Through the early stretch of the 2025-26 season, Durant has been shooting at elite efficiency, hovering around 52% from the field and 44% from deep. Even when he bricks, He's still among the most efficient scorers in the game. His ability to adapt, from isolation scorer to off-ball sharpshooter, has been crucial in extending his dominance deep into his 30s. And now, with Beal and Booker sharing the offensive load, Durant can pick his moments rather than carry the entire scoring burden. That's why his quote resonates so much. It's not frustration, it's recognition. KD knows he's playing in a system where open shots will come in bunches. The key is staying ready, staying sharp, and continuing to build chemistry with his high-profile teammates. The bigger picture. Durant's humorous honesty encapsulates the Suns' current vibe, confident, but not complacent. After dealing with injuries and lineup inconsistencies last season, the team seems to be finding its groove. Beal's health and integration remain the biggest keys. If he continues to impact games the way Durant describes, the Suns' championship window will be wide open. Phoenix fans have long waited for the moment when all three stars click simultaneously. Durant's comment shows they're getting close. The rhythm, the trust, and the spacing are all trending in the right direction. Final thoughts. Kevin Durant's "I'm surprised I'm that open and start bricking" moment is more than just a funny quote. It's a reflection of how the Suns' new era is unfolding. It shows that even one of the greatest scorers in NBA history can be caught off guard by just how good his teammates are. The $185 million investment in Bradley Beal is starting to pay off, not just in box scores, but in how defenses are reacting and how freely Durant can operate. And if KD's biggest problem is being too open, that's a good problem to have for Phoenix. Because when those shots start falling, and they will, the rest of the league is in serious trouble.